Welcome to the Intentional Life podcast, where it's all about real strategies, real tools, and techniques to help you truly become the author of your life story.
Hello, everyone. We're so excited to be back.
Hi, guys. Hello. How are you doing?
Yeah, so for this episode, the topic that we chosen, as you can see from the title, is something that we feel has already been covered from a lot of different angles and directions. And, a lot of motivational speakers cover motivation. The authors have written a lot of books about it. However, we feel that motivation is something that always keep on getting back to over and over again. And it's referred to when people talk about achieving their goals, working out, and even, things that are much more elusive, like, for instance, creating, right? We hear people talk in this scene a lot about motivation. So we thought that we wanted to cover it and share how Camilla and I see it, and maybe hopefully change your mind a little bit and inspire you how you could use motivation for you. And we also feel that in a way motivation is not really sustainable, and this is something that we wanted to really share with you, record for you, and see whether we could help you out with just sharing our own insights.
Exactly.
Yeah. So where we want to start is to say that I personally, and I think Camilla is on the same wavelength, I don't believe that sustainability and long-term results can be actually achieved solely by relying on motivation. And we want to take time to explain why. As we have previously shared on the podcast, our brains are just not naturally designed to be drawn to and willing to do things that are scary or difficult, because our brain is designed to simply protect us. And the main goal of it is to keep us safe and, well, essentially alive. And so how does that translate into our daily lives? This means that we will very rarely, in and of itself, will feel like doing the hard stuff, right? Like consistently showing up at the gym and exercising, working on our dream business, doing like the regular check-ins with your parents and friends. While we will surely have this sort of random burst of inspiration to act and get things done, these impulses will not usually be consistent and reliable. And most of the time, we will simply not feel like doing the necessary boring stuff that is very often the foundation of getting ahead. And we will not have and feel the motivation to do it because our brain is designed not to push boundaries, right? And, it is designed not to push beyond obstacles because, again, its job is to protect us.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That's why getting out of our comfort zone, doing something new is often so hard.
Yeah. So simply, exactly. So it will just not naturally inspire you to feel motivated to do things that are difficult, especially when things are uncertain. The brain hates uncertainty, or when things are scary. And I feel like that sets up a huge problem for us because, there is, again, different percentage, but I would say way over 90% of people are not willing to do what it takes to make their dreams come true. And if you look at the most successful people, and when they're asked what sort of the secret of their success is, majority of them will tell you it's just like hard work that they do behind the scenes consistently, day in and day out, that then they are celebrated for in public, right? But majority of the time, they are doing that boring stuff. They are showing up for themselves. And what we want to do is for you guys to be part of that really small elite percentage of people, the mindset elite, who actually get things done and move towards their goals, even and especially when they don't feel motivated to do so. And
oh my God, I love this term, the mindset elite.
Yeah.
I still want to be part of this.
Right? When I was preparing for this episode, I was like, the mindset elite, like that's the elite that we want to be. And it's not about the riches anymore, right? It's the mindset elite.
That motivates me right there. Just, calling myself or thinking of myself as part of the mindset elite. Beautiful.
Okay, we're done then. We just finished recording.
Yeah.
We're already inspired.
Yes. That's the
Right.
way to go.
Right. So the main goal of this episode is, again, like I said before, to share our favorite tricks and hacks on how to get things done.
Yeah, absolutely. And something that came up for me when I was thinking about the topic of motivation, before even going into the more practical side of things, is to actually take a step back, quiet our minds and check in with ourselves, deeply reflecting on whether the goal that we're having, that we are, that we want to motivate ourselves to get there, is even in alignment with our authentic selves. So that might sound a little cryptic, but a lot of goals, a lot of goals that we think we should have are actually imposed on us in a way, right? It could be by our culture, our society, our family, our peers. So there are certain things that we feel kind of, that we should do them also. We kind of feel pressured, be it, going to university, or maybe climbing the corporate ladder, or I don't know, different things for everyone. But just checking in with yourself. Is this actually something that I feel aligned with, that I feel really inspired to do? Will this actually make me happy? And it's not an easy question to answer, but it is really the foundation, because without that, if the goal is actually not aligned with you, if the goal, so that means that the goal actually isn't that important to you in the first place. So that will make it almost impossible for you to stay motivated. You might get motivated, like Vilma mentioned. You might have this, this feeling of, oh, I'm inspired to do this right now. I should really do this right now. But in order to stay motivated, the goal that we set for ourselves needs to be truly important to ourselves at a deep and existential level. So so before setting our goal, and forcing ourselves to be motivated, which can be such a frustrating topic for many of us. When we lose motivation, it's so frustrating, and I hear that a lot. Is checking in, is this goal really aligned with what I truly want and what truly makes me happy? And then a second factor that at least, it plays a big role for me, definitely, is autonomy. I think in order to really be motivated intrinsically, I need to have the feeling that I have some level of autonomy. For instance, in my previous job, which was a great job on paper, but if I'm truly honest, I wasn't very passionate about the cause, about the specific tasks. So truly, the goal of succeeding was not perfectly aligned with my inner purpose. And also, I just didn't have a lot of autonomy. That was, it was kind of a company where we were more micromanaged, I would say. And I say that, in a loving way, because it was a great experience anyway. But I feel like I was really unmotivated, especially when I compare myself to what I'm doing now, which fills me up so much, because I didn't have that freedom, that freedom to think, oh, what could I be doing? And I do feel like that motivates a lot of people, definitely, to be able to be autonomous and to make decisions, and to feel like their actions truly matter, that they're not so stuck in a system where, they just follow and follow and follow, but that what they do is so important that it truly matters, so that impact that you're getting from that you're making, that is in itself such a motivating force. So yeah, that was like the first two things that came to my mind. And to make it easier for yourself to start off in a motivated way, and that just goes to show that motivation, alone isn't enough. We need to think about so much more. We need to think beyond motivation. So Vilma, since this is really, a real part of your expertise, and you work on motivation a lot with your clients, I wanted to ask you, how would you go about that?
Yes. So before I get into that, I just wanted to reflect on what you just said. And I love that you bring it up because I feel like what you said is bringing back the holistic view at who we are as human beings and our needs and wishes and aspirations, and really making sure that all of the parts, because we have so many different parts, are actually acting in alignment. Because like you said, if you're doing something that does not resonate with you, that you will cause a lot of internal conflict and resistance and anxiety, which will use up a lot of your energy. So not only are you not going to be motivated at work, you'll come back home completely drained from work as well.
Oh, yes,
Right?
absolutely.
Yeah.
And it will be so much harder to motivate yourself to do even other things that bring you more joy. So it's such an energy drainer. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So I like what you just said there. And again, like you said, this is something I deal with a lot with my clients. And that's why I am so passionate about purpose and helping people find their meaning, because this is where their energy lies, right? So if they're doing something that's not in alignment, no motivational tips will last for too long for you.
Exactly.
Right? So it's not sustainable. But anyway, so what I am excited about is actually sharing and giving tools that could help you out in the moment or bring you some awareness if you actually are on track and you are moving towards your goals that you are excited about. But first things first, and what I like to share is that in order to be able to do any sort of quality thinking or make healthy choices for yourself, we need to make sure that we are covering the basics, which is food, exercise, water, fresh air, sleep. And this is not necessarily a full list of things that you need to do, but these are the main components, the essentials, the bare minimum that I believe we owe to our bodies to get into the state where our thinking is clear and the decision making process is not clouded by certain biochemical physical imbalances, which I think happens a lot, and we can all notice that in our lives when, say, we are eating unhealthy, or we went to a party and we had different kind of foods and we had some alcohol. Then in the morning we wake up tired, we are more prone to skip on the workout, we're not
Definitely.
motivated to do things, right?
Yeah,
So
it drains our energy. So energy obviously is also a big component of motivation. So I totally agree
exactly.
with that.
Yes. And especially, so it's not only the movement and water and exercise, it's also sleep. And I feel
Mm,
like people are finally talking enough about sleep. I see it in the all sort of the community that we're part of, Camilla and I. People start bringing
yeah,
awareness to the sleep and how important sleep is. Because, when you think of motivated people, you imagine someone who's working through the night, right? Coding or creating
yeah,
their dream business and stuff. But actually sleep, while yes, short term, when you have to push through certain deadlines, it can help you. Long term, you're doing yourself such a big disservice by cutting on your sleep. And I mean, I send a lot of love and compassion to the moms, because I know a lot of them, they will tell me like, well, it's good for you because you don't have children, but actually if you have smaller children, it's not that straightforward, right? And I respect that. So just as much as you can, try not to cut on your sleep, because this is such a huge thing for your mental health, not only physical, mental health alone, where you will wake up. Remember yourself when you wake up and you had enough sleep, right? And you wake up and like everything just like seems so easy, so much easier, and then you are like just more happy and you're not as irritable. So sleep is just massive, but not the point of this recording. The reason why I start with this, that even though it may sound like it's very obvious, common sense, self-serving thing to do, from what I've seen, is usually it's the things that are the easiest and the most accessible, where we tend to often ignore or forget about, right? So I really want to bring back awareness to the basics. And like I said, it's doing the boring stuff, because if you do this quote unquote boring stuff, it's exactly what will add up and in the future will take you to the exciting and wild stuff, right? In order for me and Camilla to be able to serve our clients, we have to do inner work, we have to get enough sleep, we have to exercise, we have to do all the same things in order to show up for service to our clients. So we also need
part
to
of the mindset elite.
sorry? Yeah,
To be
mindset.
part of the mindset elite, yeah.
Yes. Exactly. So I just wanted to think about it. Even if you take this past week, for instance, how many times did you work out? How many times did you go for a walk and have fresh air? There is so much magic in movement. Camilla and I, we like to go for walks because it's almost like when you're in a movement, your thinking changes, you get new ideas. It's magical.
I get the best ideas when I'm walking,
Right.
definitely.
And then think about, did you get 7-8 hours of sleep? Did you meditate? And there are amazing tools and journals out there these days, either be it physical or electronic, where it allows you to track the water consumption, exercise, sleeping patterns, everything. So really there is no excuse to skip on the basics.
True. I feel like this is really a prerequisite to set yourself up to succeed, you know? So if you have taken care of your body, and also I would add, avoid things that can distract you and lead you astray. So if your goal is, for instance, losing weight, well, don't have any cookies and chocolates in the pantry, just avoid that. And if you want to work in a focused manner, then create an ambience for your work where you can really, bring in this professional attitude. So, you would have probably like a clear, clean desk without clutter, and, you're not, I don't know, your kids aren't playing in the room next door and screaming and calling you all the time. So just make sure that really before you can even ask yourself motivated, you need to have set yourself up to succeed. Otherwise, you're just inviting distractions in and energy drainers, like Vilma mentioned, and you'll just end up being frustrated and wondering why it's not happening.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. It's like that old chestnut, failing to prepare is preparing to fail, right?
Yeah.
So exactly. Set yourself up for success by removing the distractions. And I think you and I, Camilla, we covered that when we had an episode on working from
on productivity.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
On productivity and working from home, and how to set
Which
up
you
your
can
environment.
Exactly. You might want to listen to that also. If motivation is an issue for you, maybe, productivity hacks and tools that we shared. I think we shared a lot in this episode. They will also be really helpful for you.
Mm-hmm.
So we can link that episode below maybe.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, we can do that. Definitely. So yes, so I definitely agree with that. The second thing that I want to talk about, again, which is something that comes from sort of more spiritual background, is that the biggest thief of energy and getting things done in the moment is usually us living in the past or thinking about the future. The power of presence is something that, again, you'll find a lot of spiritual teachers talk about, and I think is directly related to motivation and getting things done, which is something, again, not a lot of people link together, because usually you have your spiritual practice and then you have sort of, hacks of productivity, but I feel like they actually go hand in hand. And the way I'd like to apply presence to get things done is by, for instance, being super aware of my current state and trying to stop myself in the moment when I feel like the old habits or sort of the old momentum is starting to carry me through the day. And it definitely is not easy. And I hear people tell that a lot. It's like, hey, but we are so driven by the subconscious. It's not easy to become so present. And it's not, but it is. It is like a muscle. The more you do it, the more natural it becomes to you, because in general, like I mentioned before, our brain likes to be lazy and it likes to work on autopilot. So as much as it can outsource of our skills and habits to the subconscious, that's what it will do. And being present, what it does, it allows us to redirect our intention and action to focus on tasks and activities that will move us closer to our aspirations. And the really good and common, I feel, example is, say, if you feel yourself suddenly out of the blue, you're doing something, and the next thing you notice is you're walking towards the fridge, and you're like about to open it up. Stop yourself. And before you even open the fridge door, ask yourself, will that, tub of ice cream or that piece of cheese, whatever they're into, like, right? I'm into potatoes, for instance, right? Will that actually, what you're reaching for, provide the required nutrition to my body? Or am I just looking for some sort of emotional release? Am I looking for connection? what need am I trying to meet right in this moment? Again, we had an episode on that when we were talking about needs and how often we like to meet our needs with unhealthy habits that serve as a huge distraction, so that we wouldn't have to think about what the actual problem is. And that, is applicable to overeating, binge drinking, whatever, sex addiction, Netflixing. That all is like a compass pointing towards certain things that you're unwilling to deal with.
I agree. I absolutely agree. It's only in the presence that we can actually, in the present moment, that we can actually, create a change, a positive change. We can't change it in the past because it's over. We can't change it in the future, even though our mind, is drawn there so much. But really, the only place in time that we can be effective is the right now, the present moment. And, also in a lot of spiritual teachings, they say that life is actually just a whole bunch of present moments, one after another. And if we shift our perception to see that, we will see that what we do right now is going to contribute to what's happening in the future. So I definitely love this point.
Yeah, totally. I mean, this is all we've got. That's the reason why it's called the present, the gift, right? And I feel like if we were more playful about it, if we didn't take it so seriously, and we found us being present more and more in the moment. Like I always say that being present is a way to multiply time, because if you're actually present, then your whole day, your time stretches. At the end of the day, you'd be like, wow, like I feel like I've experienced so much because I was not on autopilot, and I have so many new memories that I can, put into my memory bank and go back to. I feel like this was such a great day. Even if you don't seemingly do a lot of amazing things, just going out for a walk and being present, doing the work and being present, talking to someone and really looking them in the eye and giving them the attention and being present is extremely, extremely rewarding. Yeah, so that's being present. Another tool, the third one that I like to share with you, is my own personal favorite. And, when you don't feel like doing things, you can look at yourself and whatever task at hand that you have from your future self's perspective. So doing things from the future self's point of view, meaning that you can ask yourself, what would my future self thank me for accomplishing right in this moment? And I personally found this to be such a powerful question, because a lot of the times, we are very prone to prioritize short-term pleasure versus long-term gain. So we often disassociate from the fact that if we postpone something right now for the future, it will still be us who will have the same person who will have to show up in the future moment and do it for us. And the chances are that it will be probably much harder then and more taxing again on our energy, because the momentum will be lost by then. Right? Yeah. So really, like, I use it even on the most trivial, smallest tasks. Like, for instance, I'm in the evening and I need to unload my dishwasher, and I'd be like, oh, I'll do it in the morning. And then I stop myself, be like, well, in the morning, it will still be me and I'll still have to do it. Well, will my future self in the morning thank me for actually spending a few minutes and unloading the dishwasher now? And I'll be like, oh my God, yes, she'll be so happy waking up in the morning with a clean kitchen, right? And this really is
absolutely
right. And it gets so exciting. You're like, hey, like I'm serving myself in the future. And again, from energetic perspective, because we do believe in energy, is that even thinking about doing something consumes the same amount of energy as actually doing it. And this is, again, something people don't think about a lot, because it's huge. That's what's even crazier, is that often we don't just think about doing something once, we think about it many times, especially when we're postponing it, right? It's like,
we feel guilty about it. That also takes up so much energy. That's why procrastinating is so harmful. We should totally do an episode on procrastinating, Vilma.
Yeah. I feel like we touch upon it in almost every episode, but yeah, we should. It definitely deserves its own episode.
Yeah,
because exactly. So we think about it not once but twice. So imagine, like, we could have done this thing once and not thought about it and wasted energy, but actually every time we think about it, we exude the same amount of energy as if we actually did it. And,
Mm.
like what Camilla just resonated with that. You can just do it as well. Just notice yourself whenever you like reschedule or postpone and be like, I'll do it tomorrow, I'll call tomorrow. Go to your body and try to feel what your energy feels like. And it probably will feel a little bit like a huge drop in your energy. It'll be like, oh, I'll do it tomorrow, right? It's almost like a heavy burden. Like we just add yet
Yeah.
another thing for us to think about and spend energy on. So that's a huge one. And going back to your future self, so basically when you are lazy to complete, say, your daily workout, ask yourself, what would your future self look like, and be proud of if you went ahead and finished the workout. Imagine if you actually did that daily. What would your body feel, look like in a week, in a month, in 6 months? How would you feel about yourself? What would your confidence levels be? Right? And it is that exactly the daily change. It consists on those small little decisions we make moment in and moment out. Right? So
Yeah.
essentially what I like to call it is paying forward or hooking your future self up. Like, what will you do today
Exactly.
to hook your future self up? Right?
Exactly. And if it resonates with you, I know some people like doing that, and I do too, is that you could create, a vision board for where you want to be in 6 months or in a year from now. And just, some things that inspire you, maybe you've achieved certain things. Maybe you've lost a certain amount of weight that will make your body fit into a great bathing suit or whatever it is, right? And just putting that up somewhere. If you don't want it to be so visible, you can even put it, that's what I do with my vision board. I have it in the inside of my wardrobe, so when
Oh,
I
I love
open the
it.
door I still see it. And
Mm,
it's just a nice way to kind of even start your morning, be like, oh, that's where I want to be in 6 months or in a year from now. And like the title of our podcast, being intentional, being
mhm.
intentional about your choices. So yeah,
Yeah, I
it's a
love it. I
nice
love that. I love that you
exercise.
have. Yeah, I love that you have it on your wardrobe, because then you're prone to open up the door every morning, right, or evening.
Yeah, if you don't live alone, I feel like, it's kind of, it is your private compass. So
Yeah.
you don't need everyone looking at it or
Yeah, yeah, no,
yeah,
I feel you.
totally.
I feel you. Like, I feel a bit awkward sometimes when people walk in and I have my vision boards all over the place, and they'd be like, "What is this?
Yeah,
What a crap
exactly.
have you been doing?" So I feel, that's a
Yeah.
great place to hang it on. Yeah. So we're throwing a lot of things at you. You don't have to do them all. As again, just see what resonates with you. But they're all, if you just apply them, really, really powerful. So one thing that I also like to suggest, especially for the more creative types, is basically reframing the task or activity so it becomes more interesting and appealing to you. This is where, it really helps if you turn on your imagination, your exploration mode on, because very often we don't like the task, not because it's not pleasant for us personally, but because it actually has, say, a lot of bad rep associated to it. And because there's, universally agreed upon consensus that, say, for instance, I don't know, cleaning is like, boring or bad job, or for instance, working on Excel sheets is a boring job, which is not true for a lot of people, right? But because sort of there's the consensus out there, we're like, oh no, I have to clean. However, what I'd like you to consider is that absolutely everything, that you believe you need to accomplish within your day, you can turn into this sort of self-serving and energizing, well, I call it fun fest, because every single task can become pleasurable if you intentionally make it so, to the point where it ends up filling you with energy as opposed to depleting you. And again, this may take a little bit more time to play with it at the beginning, but just like with everything, once you get into the habit of it, you can actually make the most of it. So, what you can do is whenever you have a task at hand, you can just in that task look for some sort of self serving motive. So, for instance, if you have, sometimes it happens, I have those days where we have a really long day of errands to run. However, like deep inside, you may be someone who likes freedom and creativity and being able to be free and sort of whimsical and go with the flow. And as a consequence, having you feel like you're tied down to those errands may feel very restrictive to you or suffocating, and it may be limiting your sense of autonomy. And in this example, what, say, you could do is reframe the situation by trying to think how running those errands will contribute towards your sense of autonomy in the future as opposed to restricting it. So if you go, for instance, to fix your car, right? It means that you will not be restricted in your car in the future in case it breaks down in the middle of nowhere. So in that sense, you're going to the garage is actually adding to your sense of freedom, not taking away from it. So when you look at it like that, you're like, wow, like I'm actually serving myself. How much fun. Or for instance, a lot of people don't like cooking. And say you're creative. I have a friend who's an artist. And the way she cooks, I've never seen anything like that. She literally, takes a bunch of ingredients and she just performs this like performance, and then she takes colors and she improvises and she adds spices and she experiments. And for her, it's like creating art, cooking, like creating art, right? And then suddenly this mundane everyday experience can become into something that's so much fun, and it uplifts you and it feeds you. So yeah, I love that.
Yeah, definitely. That really reminds me also of something that I do with my clients and with myself, and that is so powerful. And I guess it's also a reframe that you can offer yourself, and it's to chase the feeling instead of the goal, right? So I think sometimes it's better to chase the feelings that you hope to have, from this goal, or that you actually, we even say that actually it's not so much the goal that you really want, it's actually the feelings associated to it. That's why this is so powerful. And it's a much healthier approach because it'll even allow you to enjoy the process. So since our brain is wired in a way that it wants to either experience pleasure or avoid pain. These are our two big motivators. Write that down. We always want to either experience pleasure or avoid pain. So when you associate your goal with a positive feeling, such as feeling fulfilled or happy or beautiful or fit, successful, whatever you're after, if you focus on that and on those feelings, instead of focusing on I need to sell so and so many products, or I need to lose so and so many pounds, it will really, first of all, make you intrinsically more motivated, because it is really what your brain is looking for, that gratification that you get from the positive feelings. And again, envisioning yourself as your future self, like Vilma mentioned, and the feelings you will have as your future self once you've achieved what you're about to achieve, that's super motivating and powerful. And so you can just ask yourself before you take any action that might sabotage your motivation and the achievement of your goal, is, will doing this make me feel what I want to feel? So for instance, if you want to feel fit and beautiful for the summer, we're so far away from the summer, but anyway, let's just go with this example because I think it's something that will resonate with a lot of people. Then ask yourself, will this chocolate cake make me feel healthy, beautiful, and fit or not? So this is, another aspect to the future self, is to look at your future self in terms of feelings and the feelings that you want to feel, and using that as a motivating force, because it is a big one. And another thing that came to me was that I really like pairing an activity I like with an activity I dislike. So when you talked about your friend, the artist, who, doing something as, simple and mundane as cooking, she just transformed it into a piece of art. I do that too. So for instance, when I go jogging or something, which is honestly not something I particularly enjoy, then I pair this time with an activity that I do really like, which is listening to an audiobook. Or in the fitness center, sometimes you can even watch. You have screens, so you can use your phone, and then I take that time specifically to watch even like a TV show that I like, or some interviews with people that I like. So I kind of pair those two activities so that it will actually make me want to do it and make me want to stay motivated. Of course, you can't, you need this to be like a treat in order to work. If you always allow yourself to watch TV and to listen to audiobooks and stuff, then it will lose effect. But if it's something that can be considered as a treat, it might be, a way to motivate yourself to do, again, the necessary things that might sometimes seem boring to you, but that are necessary in order to achieve your goal. And if it's work or a task at work that you don't enjoy doing, can you pair it to something that you enjoy, such as maybe a place that inspires you, doing that particular, not so, maybe it's bookkeeping, accounting, or something like that a lot of people aren't so keen to do, but that is really important if you want to, for instance, grow your business. So can you do this from an inspiring place, like a nice coffee shop or a co-working space, or even outdoors? Or maybe you can, if it doesn't distract you too much, you can create a special work playlist with songs that kind of lift you up and that get you, into this motivated state. So this is just a little hack that I like to do, pairing an activity that I like with an activity that I dislike, but that is necessary to do.
Love that. I love that. Yeah, it's a great one. I was listening to you and I was thinking, oh, actually, I've been doing that as well. I think probably it's such an intuitive way to self-soothe as well when you have to get things done right. Or like, bring myself a really nice cup of coffee when I have to do something I don't.
Oh, I always do that. Yeah.
Right. Coffee is a savior. But yeah, definitely that's a great one. And also, when I was listening, you speak, is that what I realized that a lot of the time, the problem is that not that we're not capable or not willing to do it. A lot of the times, the reason why we don't do it is because we start believing to the inner mind drama and mind dialogue why, we can't or we shouldn't do it. And this is where I'd like to bring in the fifth tool and technique and sort of hack that we'd like to share with you, which is using the power of momentum. Because while all of the above that we shared, they're really nice and, they're really, really helpful and transformative, they do take a little bit of time to sort of, wrap your mind around them and really start introducing them into your life. However, there are situations where you just don't have time or energy left to do it. And this is where I'd like to teach one of my favorite tools, which was introduced actually by Mel Robbins, which is called the 5 seconds rule. And I'm not sure you might have heard of it. It's a very, very huge one out there that people use. And it's really, really amazing because I've heard her share that it has actually saved people from suicide before. And it's just such a powerful one. So
it's a book that you can pick up if you're interested.
Yeah, she has a book about it as well. Exactly. We can link it down below. So before, further ado, what it is about is basically, you can imagine it as and I think that's where she got it. Imagine when you have a launch of, say, a spaceship, which is just about to take off. And like literally seconds before it's about to take off and is gathering all of that momentum, there usually is a really loud countdown just before it sort of leaves the ground, which is 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then, and it like launches off, and then you can see there's so much energy that is harnessed as it launches itself off into the space, and there is this unprecedented power and momentum. Like I'm talking about, I'm getting goosebumps. It's so powerful.
Yeah.
Right.
And there is no going back. It's just it takes off. That's it.
Oh, exactly. It's a launch. That's it. No way. Yeah, you can't turn around and be like, oh, change my mind.
Yeah.
Let me stay in the earth. I'm okay. Yeah, it doesn't work, but it's exactly that idea of launching is what we could do if we find ourselves in those lazier moments, which we all have. So we could like apply this like really loud countdown. Sometimes I do it in a dramatic way just to make myself laugh and sort of do pattern interrupt for myself. If I'm, say, on the couch and I'm feeling a bit lazy and it's raining, and you haven't had enough coffee, and then I do like 5, 4, 3, and then I literally just, get up. It works magically for getting up in the morning. If you say, you have to wake up earlier, do the morning routine, and then literally just launching yourself, because you can't listen to your mind. Your mind will come up with all kinds of excuses why you should sleep in. So launching yourself like that can really, because once you're up, you're done. That's it. You're not going to go back to the bed, right?
Exactly. Who goes back to bed once they already got up and drank some coffee or something, nobody will go
Yeah.
to bed then. So it's really just that moment of getting up.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's a really, really great, again, very simple tool. And some people say, well, why is it 5 seconds? And it's actually because by exploring the brain and the electromagnetic impulses, the scientists found that it's 5 seconds that is the crucial optimal time. And if we don't marry our impulse that we have, our idea, with an action within the 5 seconds, our brain will pull an sort of imaginary emergency brake on us, and the impulse will be killed and lose its
Yeah.
momentum. That's why those 5 seconds are actually that time where it's like really poignant and full of energy that you can use for your own benefit.
Exactly.
So
It's still short enough not to start overthinking it,
yes.
which is so important. So really, I think what we wanted to teach you guys is that motivation is not willpower, which is I think what a lot of people have tried to convey to us, or introduce tools on the basis that it's all about willpower. We think that willpower is not enough. You have to go beyond that. You have to go beyond motivation. So in that sense, I love the 5 second rule, and also um, creating habits, right? If you start arguing with yourself over and over again every morning when you're about to wake up, well, should I really get up? Well, shouldn't I stay in bed? I still have some time. I can just snooze. I'm saying this because I have this conversation, a lot with myself also.
Yeah.
So, but really it is about interrupting that argument with ourselves, because our brain will probably, win the game, win the argument. And if we give ourselves too much time to argue, i.e. more than 5 seconds, then it's a very risky terrain. So I think it's much better to not rely on willpower and to create a habit, to take the momentum and create a habit in the long term, to just take the decision once, right? So if you decide that you want to get up earlier every morning to get a head start into either whatever you want to do, you might want to work out, or you might want to meditate, you might simply want to have more time in the morning to start more consciously and more calmly, to set you up for the stresses of the day that are awaiting you, then make it a habit also, right? Don't take the decision every day, just take it once, and then use the 5 second rule to, with that momentum, to just get up. So I think it's super important for us to see that it's not all about willpower. Motivation that solely relies on willpower is definitely not sustainable. And that's why we wanted to share all these tools with you and all these insights, even so that you can have a really holistic view and experience of what a true intrinsic motivation will look like.
Yeah, exactly. No, I agree with you. When you build those habits, it just doesn't require as much effort anymore, right? Just like brushing your teeth. You don't question that. You don't have like a mind drama every morning.
Exactly.
You have to brush your teeth, do you? Well, which is really funny because it's so natural. Actually, I just wanted, as a wrap up, I wanted to share an example of my friend's son. So if she's listening, hi. She told me about her son. Like it went through the phase where he would have so much drama about brushing his teeth in the evening. He would end up crying for 2 hours straight.
Oh my God.
And she wouldn't let him go to bed. She goes like, listen, if I let him once, he will start manipulating that. And he is in a stage like between 2 and 3 years old where it's really important to impose that, habits on him. He would cry nonstop for 2 hours. And, and I was like, listen, look at us. Like, we don't even think about it twice. Yeah, you brush your teeth, you go to bed. It's so common. And, by introducing habits, essentially, that's what you could do with a lot of other things that are important for you in your life. So I guess, like with this episode, we really wanted to show you how to, in a way, outsmart your brain, because a lot of this have to do with outsmarting your brain and using neuroscience for you. And above all, to bring it back to the heart, I think that being able to take action in spite of lack of motivation is an act of self-love. That's why relying solely on motivation will make it a very sort of long-winded road. And if you add intention and awareness and at least one of the tips that we shared today, it will allow you to sort of travel from, how they say, point A to point B in a much more straight and pleasurable line. And we really hope that listening to this episode and applying the hacks we shared will help you to essentially help yourself, because that's our ultimate goal.
Exactly. So I'm actually sure that it will be really effective. So maybe like Vilma said, if you don't want to, apply everything, just pick 2 or 3 things, or one even. Just pick one if you want. And for the next 7 days, let's decide this together right here, right now, because I think something came up for each and every one of us. Nobody's perfect when it comes to chasing our goals and being motivated to do so. So let's all pick something that we want to do a slightly better job at achieving, and of being truly motivated. And then just for the next 7 days, let's put one of those little insights and tools into place and into system in order to help us get there.
So yeah, I think that's a wrap for today for this episode. Also, really wanted to share something with you guys. Camilla and I are super excited because we haven't actually yet set up our iTunes, but we're doing it now, and we're going to share all the details with you.
Yay!
We're going to be in iTunes, and we really want you guys to comment and share some feedback. We do this podcast as a way to give back to our community. So getting that feedback, having the dialogue going back and forth is something that keeps us going. So please, if you enjoy the tips and you enjoy us chatting about things and hopefully inspiring you, please make sure that you leave a review and, just rate
and subscribe.
Subscribe.
Yeah, please do. And as a special something, can we share this already, Vilma?
Yeah.
Yay! Okay, so as a special something, we want to do a giveaway, and we brainstormed quite a lot about it, and we thought, okay, what could truly be of value to our listeners? So we had an idea, since the year is slowly but surely coming to an end, that we want to give away a calendar for 2020, but not just any type of calendar. It will be a beautiful personalized one with your name on it. So yay. So please, do subscribe to our channel and leave us a review or a comment. And out of the people that do, we'll pick a lucky winner. And wherever you are in the world, we'll get that beautiful personalized calendar to you.
Yes. So I'm thinking we'll probably draw a winner.
We'll draw a winner. Sorry.
Yeah, we'll draw a winner.
I just thought that we won't pick.
That's my favorite. No, I'm gonna draw a winner, and Camilla and I, we laughed about it. We're like, well, we don't want to feel like for people that is a bribe, because it's not a bribe. Truly, this is something that a gift that we both would like to get, right? And sometimes it's just a little push that we need, even though I know I enjoy a lot of the things online, but I don't always comment and share and spread the love. So I think, this is something that we basically want to encourage you to put yourself out there and share a comment. And yeah, hopefully you enjoy the calendar. I don't know, I might get one for me as well. I'm thinking about
it. Mine too.
So yeah, okay. Thanks so much for listening, tuning in, and we'll connect in a couple of weeks.
Speak to you soon, you guys. Bye. Thank you for tuning in. Please subscribe, share, and comment, and do let us know how our tips are working out for you. You can find our websites below, and we'd love to virtually meet you there.